Welcome to a video here. I'm going to be talking about some very enlightening stuff. I'm going to be talking about a Illuminati recruiter that contacted me on Facebook. Now, he might not be Illuminati, he might be Illuminati. I'm not really sure. I kind of think I pegged him as a darkness peace washer. What's a darkness peace watcher? It's somebody that tries to mind wash you into peace for darkness reasons. Now, what I want to talk about here is I want to talk about an idea called fourth dimensional communication and fifth dimensional communication. Basically, I'm going to help you guys understand the fourth and fifth dimension even better. Now, if you don't know much about the fourth and fifth dimension, please go check out 5D OMG Bomber videos. I have a few of them here, and they'll teach you the difference between 4D, 3D, 5D, and possibly more. Anyway, I'm going to talk about fourth dimensional communication really quick. Fourth dimensional communication are things that are like a car, how it works, a computer, how it works, anything that is, an invention that we've invented is pretty much going to be classified under fourth dimensional communicatable. Now, what I'm going to talk about is the fifth dimensional communication. Fifth dimensional communication are going to be things that are similar to God's creation. Now, I might have just lost you. Don't tune out. Okay, listen to me. Hear me out. It has to do with us. It has to do with light. It has to do with anything universal, anything metaphysical. It has to do with moving particles and what they're made out of. Anything that has to do with the universe at all, you have to communicate in the fifth dimension. A lot of times people will try to talk like the fifth dimension and the fourth dimension are connected. So they'll talk about things that are fifth dimensional like they're fourth dimensional, similar to like we created the universe. Well, they just mixed we created a fourth dimensional thing versus the universe a fifth dimensional thing. Now, that isn't how that works. You would have to canonize that. You existed, so it would be a canonizable thing. You would have to constantly do, and you could say I recreated the universe. Now, universe recreation is classified under a computer system simulation, which would be a fourth dimensional product. It would be in the fifth dimensional redundancies, but it's not. You didn't make the fifth dimension. You didn't break through to the fifth dimension and use the fifth dimension. Instead, the fifth dimension is technically, you did use it, you moved it, but it is really using you and making you. It's making your reality. The fifth dimension is making your fourth dimensional product. Now, when the mind washers are out there nowadays, you got to watch out for it. They will constantly say that they made you, they made your brain up. They figured out your brain, they figured out your soul, they figured out your root consciousness, they figured out whatever it is, your eyes, everything. They'll say everything, they'll use anything, they'll say anything. But what it is fourth dimensional communication means 100%. And then fifth dimensional communication means X out of infinity. Now, why is it X out of infinity? If you don't understand this right now, fifth dimensional communication needs to be communicated in X out of infinity. Your X needs to be open source. Now, fifth dimensional communication has to be open source 100%. Because it can't have closed source. Fourth dimensional communication can have closed back end. Because the closed back end helps keep proprietary information. It helps secure that the fourth dimensional product won't become unstable. Now, a fifth dimensional thing does not have hackability. You can't actually hack a fifth dimensional product. No, it's not real. A fifth dimensional thing has infinite redundancies. So if somebody tried to hack it, it would make itself apparent that somebody tried to hack it instead of actually be hacked. So it's an infinity thing. The fifth dimension is infinite, where the fourth dimension, although it's made by the fifth dimension and it's infinite as well, it's only infinite in less dimensions. Now, this is very key to understanding and conquering mind washers, especially peace dark washers, because I'm over here somebody that is, a big time Illuminati preacher, I am, I'm claiming to be Illuminati Supreme Commander First Class. Shout out. I'm claiming to be Archangel. I'm claiming that there's an Illuminati and Vatican alliance. I'm claiming a lot of this. But as you look into the Illuminati is one of the most, doppelganged Illuminati. They're one of the most doppelganged groups. And, it's an enlightenment group. It's not an endarkenment group. The goals are to oppose superstition, to anti-intellectual, now they're anti-intellectual, meaning they're opposing these things. They're opposing religious influence over public life. They're opposing it. Now, they're not opposing the law, though. There's freedom of religion in the Illuminati. Abuses the state of power. Abuses of state of power. State of power is right here. State of power is if somebody has government authority. If somebody was paid for something. If somebody was given a leadership role and they abuse their power, that's what this means. This is very similar. Leadership. And it's not a matter of, you can't attack somebody that's evil. The whole point is that you can in the Illuminati. It is to oppose these forces. It's not about safely being a peace warrior. I don't have to prance around and be pretentious and worry about everybody's feelings. No, I don't have to worry about everybody's feelings. In the Illuminati, you worry about the abuse of power, of evil. You worry about evil, and you're not necessarily a knight, but you are also possibly a knight. It's either or. You don't have to be this insanely advanced super spy that is roaming all around the world, flying all around, taking care of all kinds of business. It's a mix and a match. Like, you just literally have to be somebody that is against bad things. It's so hard to say what a bad thing is, but it's right here in front of you. Abuse of power, religious influence over public life. That means by force, my boys and girls. Anti-intellectual stuff, anything that's literally trying to lie on purpose. Anything that's superstitious. Superstition, this is mild. If somebody has a superstitious belief, you go, come on, that's, be realistic. Then you're more likely to be Illuminati than if you didn't. What I'm trying to teach you is that people that are coming into your life are going to say that they are enlightened. They're going to say that they're Illuminati. They're going to say that they're Christian. They're going to say that they're Jesus followers. They're going to say God followers. They're going to say all these different things. We're with God 100%, a fourth dimensional thing, versus we're with God, a canonizable thing. I go to church all the time. I study religion all the time. I study the Bible all the time. I have studied the Bible since I was a young kid. I have practiced and walked the Bible since I was a young kid. Sure, I might have sinned, but at the same time, sins aren't forbidden. God was telling Moses to kill. And at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's not about, is there holier gods or is there less holier gods? There is both. Right? There's infinitely more holy to your bar that you set. What I'm trying to just teach you here is baseline knowledge. Baseline knowledge so you don't get mind wash. Anyway, this video is getting pretty long. If I lost you, if you don't know what's going on, go back to one of my previous videos. 5D OMG Bomber. 5D OMG Bomber. Understanding the path to understanding 5D 1 year ago. Understanding Tesseract, Scalar, Obelisk, Diviner, Pterogenesis, and more. That's a really good one too, because those are all, Marvel mixed with science, mixed with super science, mixed with Earth. All those things are scientifically possible theories that have to do with reality. What is a Tesseract? It's pretty much a cube that controls things. You're a Tesseract. And a Tesseract is more. Tesseract is one of the most powerful things there is in the universe. It moves things. watch these videos if you don't know what's going on. OMG Bomber out. Peace.